Warning: this stream is rated for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legion Cage Adopt-A-Pet.com theater. My name is Scotty. If you have not done so, check out our sponsor this month, Legion Cage, is requesting you go to adoptapet.com and search for your local animal shelter. If there's some way that you can help, up to and including adopting a pet that needs a forever home, it would very much appreciate it. And you can just check it out. It's right there in the chat. Click on the link, and yeah, I'm sure you can figure out the rest. Welcome back, and we are now doing our third, interviews with normal, extraordinary people. And the common theme between all of these is that nobody I interview thinks they're extraordinary in any way, shape, or form. And they all say that to me when I ask them, do you want to be a guest on this? And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I don't think I'm extraordinary in any way. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. That's the whole point. You're normal. And then during the interview, we're going to find out the part of you that is extraordinary. So the first episode, we had Luke, the Big Zang Theory, from halfway across the world. And then we had Angle Doom, who is constantly in my backyard, peeking at me through my window in the bushes. And now we have the esteemed Short and Sweet, who also goes by Veronica or V or O Short and Evil One. So welcome. How are you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Just plugging along. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a
I think
pleasure.
those were my exact words, was I'm not very
Yeah.
extraordinary at all.
But yeah, you're not the first person to express that sentiment to me. So, and you won't be the last, I'm sure. But yes. So, oh, we have Watch Whitney and everybody else that came in. We have the Gaming Avengers Ben, Legion Kage, and Selamu Dio is here, and now Whitney just came in. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Glad you could make it. So, the first thing I want to get right into here with you is you are the wife of my cohort in crime, Legion Cage. Um, I immediately feel sorry for you in one regard, but what's it like? Describe being married to Cage.
Oh boy.
What is like if I asked you, what is the main theme to your marriage? What would you say?
Uh, chaos?
Yeah, I could see that.
He he has a lot of I called it Aries energy. He's not an Aries. Uh, but Aries energy where he is just like bouncing around, like you can't get him focused on one thing. He's just here to, you kind of have to rein him in a little bit once in a while. But yeah, that's kind of what it's like.
Well, no, it's not a cage bashing stream. It's just,
Oh no.
from your perspective, you're my guest and he can fuck off. But the funny thing and part of the reason why I asked that question is because we also do this watch party podcast together. That's not real Trek, which is going to be airing tomorrow for this week. But I asked you a question in regard to that in private chat, and that question was, do you want me to check with you every Thursday to make sure you're good to go? And you said, no, it's fine. I'll let you know if I have some kind of scheduling issue. And
Right.
the key to that was I don't have to remind you to let me know if you've got an issue. You'll just do that on your own, and you'll be able to keep your own timetable and your own schedule and handle that. And
Yes.
I don't gather that that is the same for Cage. So, you know, obviously you as the other half of that relationship have to deal with that in a lot of different capacities.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of dry erase boards with dates and times and everything scheduled on it, so that he doesn't forget. And
But would those dry erase boards be there if you were by yourself?
I would probably leave it in my phone.
Okay.
So it would just be,
All right.
because we honestly we don't see each other very much. I don't
Right.
know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Your schedule is
I think we've
opposite.
talked about it. Yeah, I'm on a morning shift. He's on an evening shift. So Monday through Friday, we kind of don't see each other. Um, Other than like hi bye in the morning type thing
Yeah.
and hi bye in the evening.
Right. Okay. Well, just I wanted to touch on that little aspect of it first because we love Cage and
Oh yeah.
pat him on the head and say that's a good boy. Thank you. Um, so first of all, your name is Veronica. How old are you? What city or region are you from? And what is your occupation?
I am 38. I live in Maslin, Ohio. I've grown up in this area. I've been in this area my whole life.
Hmm.
I was born in Canton. Um, and I am a pharmacy tech at a specialty pharmacy at a hospital.
Okay. So, do you actually like count out the little pills and put them in the
Oh yeah.
bottles and okay,
Yep.
so your math has to be very exact at your job.
Yes.
You best not fuck up there.
Oh yeah, especially with like with specialty medications, they're a lot more expensive than
Hmm.
your standard stuff, so it's very important to make sure things are accurate.
Right, right. Um, Now, you said you grew up in that area, Canton and now Massillon. Have you lived anywhere else besides that area of Ohio?
This is it, unfortunately.
Well, no, not unfortunately. I mean,
Oh no,
I joke.
I hate it here.
I joke that it's the armpit of America, but I mean it's there's 10 million armpits of America,
Sure.
and that's just one of them. So it's like I also look at part of the area I'm in, and there's positives and negatives to everything there.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I got to imagine that the crime rate is not quite as prevalent where you live as it is in the greater Cleveland area.
Probably not where I live now, maybe where I grew up. I
Mm.
know that in the time that I've moved from there, it's gotten really rough in that area. It's
Oh,
inner
okay.
city. So, but probably not as bad as Cleveland being like a bigger metropolitan area.
Right. Okay, so you grew up in Canton. Um, What let's do it this way. What in your mind are some of the pros and cons about where you live, where you grew up, and maybe where you're going to continue living for quite some time?
Ooh. Okay. Well, cons is definitely like the traffic, the crime. Canton now is kind of just there's nice areas. I did not grow up in one of those. I grew up in like the southwest part of Canton where it wasn't great, but it's a lot worse now.
Right.
Um Good things?
Yeah, what do you like about that area?
Not a lot.
No?
I've wanted to move. I've wanted to move for years and years and years.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't love living here.
Well, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So where would be the dream location aside from in the middle of Disney World? And we're definitely gonna get to that part later.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orlando.
Okay, so you definitely would like to be. Now, have you considered, the hurricanes and the mosquitoes and the water
Mhm.
table being 2 inches under your feet and all that other good stuff?
Oh yeah, and I hate being too warm, but I still would do all of that to be closer to Disney.
Um, what about Disneyland out in California?
I've never honestly been there. We're actually maybe gonna go out at some point in the fall,
Hmm.
uh, and see Disneyland. So I don't know the area. I've never been there, but that might be a
Because I
possibility.
mean that's like San Diego area, isn't it? Or close,
Anaheim.
so
Yeah.
Anaheim. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so you haven't visited there yet, but maybe that'd be a different type of climate that might be more conducive to you than Orlando area.
I don't really know. Yeah, it could be an option for sure.
Okay.
I guess one thing I do like about where I live now and where I grew up, everything is very close. You don't have to go far to get to a restaurant, to get to the highway, you know, your parents' house. Everything is
Right.
very close together.
Right. Um, is there any other locations that you have considered, like you've either visited or you have done research on and you think that's a place that you might want to move to?
I really love Georgia. It's beautiful down there. We haven't spent a lot of time, but anytime driving through, I just think it's absolutely gorgeous.
Hmm.
Or North Carolina, South Carolina, we spent some time there, either of those. And maybe out west.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the sooner the better, or maybe when you're getting towards retirement age, or
Those are probably like more of long-term plans.
okay,
I'm gonna be settled. We do eventually want to move a little bit closer to where we work,
yes,
so we have less of a drive, but those are going to be like
yeah,
10 or more years down the road we'll probably move out of state.
because you both have a good 30 or 35 minute commute right now with the traffic.
Yeah, it's 30 minutes on the highway, and I don't like to take the highway in the mornings because of the traffic and the accidents and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's 45 for me.
Well, and people drive insane anymore these days, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. All right. So why don't you just give us some like basics about yourself, who you are, what you're interested in, and aside from Disney, we're gonna spend a whole probably hour on Disney alone. Um, just say the basics that you think people should know about you as a person.
um Well, Disney, you know that. I'm super into music. Music is really like an important part of my life.
Okay.
I don't play. I used to play the flute in the band, but I don't play an instrument currently. But music has always just been very, very important to me. Going to concerts.
How many concerts have you
Uh,
been to that you
I,
you you
I
can think of?
I could not tell you a number.
Take a guess.
70.
70? That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Is that just in your adult life, or did you do some of that before, say, age 18 as well?
I never actually went to a concert before I was 18 years old.
See, that's why I asked that
Yeah.
question because it kind of depends. Like,
Mhm.
I went to a Meatloaf concert with my dad many years ago. I would say it was like 2005, 2006. It was shortly after he had a heart attack, and he was back on tour. And my dad's reasoning was that in his entire life, so in 2005, that means we're talking about he was probably like, I don't know, 45 or so because he's now retired. Um, he had never been to a rock concert in his entire
Wow.
life. So he's like, "You want to go to a rock concert with me?" Because I've never been. I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah," and then we go to see
Absolutely.
Meatloaf. Um, so it started after you turned 18. How long after that was your first concert?
I was 18 when I saw my
Oh,
first
okay.
concert. It was 2 months out of high school. Um, and that was my first. It was Cheap Trick and Aerosmith at Blossom.
Oh,
It's my
okay.
first show. Yeah.
Now, now, why was that your first concert? Is it because like
uh,
your parents didn't let
I
you, or
just Yeah, they went to a few. My dad was always a concert hound when he was young, but we didn't really have a lot of money growing up,
okay?
and it was just not something that we were doing.
Yeah, but at least now you've been able to in your adult life go and start to do those things that more appeal to you. And
Yeah, now Cage would say I'm addicted to.
all right, so we'll focus in on that for a little bit. What is the best concert you have ever been to?
Oh, okay. The best one was Cincinnati. I went to this little dingy bar called the Wedge. We got a meet and greet to see Papa Roach. We got to go in
Oh,
before the show, meet them, get autographs, take pictures. We got in and got to listen to the sound check, and I was right in the front. It was kind of set up really cool. There was a bar like down in, and bartenders down here, and I was right on the front of the bar, and then up above was the stage. So it was a phenomenal show.
cool.
Yeah.
And that was the Papa Roach, you said?
Papa Roach. Yep. That was probably I want to say like 2007 or so. It was a
Mhm.
while ago.
I have a similar experience to that. My mom, for the longest time, was a big fan of Blessed Union of Souls,
Okay.
and they were playing out at the not the Agora, that one out on the east side, and
Nautica?
not Nautica. Um, can't think of the name of it. It's kind of a little hole in the wall, only fits like 200 people, and they were playing there. Now, Blessed Union of Souls has not really come out with anything since the 90s, so they're not as popular, not as well known. And I mean, there was maybe 50 people at this concert. And I could
Wow.
also tell that the lead singer, who is a black man, and you don't necessarily hear that like in his voice on the album and that,
Mhm.
you could tell he'd been into some drugs. So like
Oh.
it was kind of like the post washed up career almost type deal. But my mom had stars in her eyes because there was only 50 people there and we're right by the fucking stage.
Yeah.
And I knew at this venue that you can go on the side by the bar, and that's the stage entrance. So as
Mhm.
soon as they were leaving the stage at the end of the night, I was dragging my mom over there so she could shake his hand, and she was just
Oh.
great. But that reminded me of that you for your Papa Roach concert was literally right there, probably with it. You were probably getting like flecks of Papa Roach spit in your hair,
Oh,
that.
definitely.
All right, so that was the best concert, second best concert, or a close second,
Ooh.
or anything else from your
It's hard.
70 concert history
It's
that
hard
stands
to
out?
like I at one point I started making a list of like these are the artists I've seen, and I lost track of because I do a lot of festivals too. So you see, in a festival weekend you can see 20 bands.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So maybe not,
it's hard to pick a second.
maybe not a specific band, but like another experience that stands out.
Um, Elton John was another really amazing show. That was at Blossom, and my dad is a huge Elton John fan.
Hmm.
We surprised him for his birthday, and put him in the car, didn't tell him what we're doing,
Right.
and we're driving up there, and then he realizes where we're going, and he just starts screaming his head off, and we get there, and it was incredible. I mean, the man played for 3 hours. He
Yeah.
took a break, like a 20-minute break halfway through, and he went along the front of the stage, back and forth, signing autographs for 20 minutes
Yeah.
for everybody that was down there. So it was a heck of a show.
Yeah, we saw him down in Columbus one time.
Yeah.
And that was really good stuff. Yeah. All right. Worst concert you've ever been to?
Ooh, tell them at the time you were about to go to jail. No, we're not going to tell that story here. The worst one that I think I would say I don't think I've been to like a bad show overall. I've seen bands that were not good.
Hmm.
I think the most disappointing one, I'll tell this one. The most disappointing band I ever saw was Theory of a Dead Man because on the radio, I like that music. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy all those songs. And we went to a festival. They were playing in the middle of the day. They come out on the stage and they just had absolutely no stage energy. And you can tell when a band cares about being there and cares about entertaining, and when a band is just there to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And they just literally stood there and they were just like, okay, this is this song, and then they played the song. And that was that was their whole set. It
Yeah.
was pretty bad.
Well, anybody would tell you that, yeah, there's a big difference between, you know, a recording studio and putting out an album and putting on a live performance where you have to have a stage presence. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they don't even sound like they do on the radio. Like they sound nothing like that. So you can tell that it's all production and
Oh.
yeah, it was a pretty rough show.
Mm. All right, so best and worst concerts, and let's see, you got at least 70 under your belt, possibly 120.
Yeah.
Um, what are like the die hard, you gotta see these concerts, these bands, if at all possible, before you die?
Before that I haven't seen before.
Yes.
Rammstein, which is we're going in September or October to see them in Philadelphia.
Awesome.
That's been one that I've been waiting for a long time. Nine Inch Nails is another one that I really want to see. Um, I think it'd be cool to see the Rolling Stones too. Before
Yeah,
they call it quits.
105-year-old Mick Jagger up there.
Yeah, let's still go see it. It's iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
understand. All right,
yeah, I think
so
those are yeah.
definitely a big music fan. Let's say, how about favorite album of all time?
Ooh, Aerosmith Nine Lives.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it gets a lot of hate because it's newer Aerosmith, but that's the first CD I had, so I played that on repeat.
I was like that with Jethro Tull.
Okay.
My first CD was a Jethro Tull Greatest Hits, and man, I played that thing backwards and forwards all day long. So maybe there's something to be said about that. That, just like, first kiss, first date, first experience with something new, first book, first CD,
Yeah,
and
I think the nostalgia
that has a
definitely plays into it.
big impression on you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we might as well move into Disney then. So, you're not a fan of Disney at all, and
Not a fan.
the and how many people in Mickey Mouse costumes have you violently attacked with hugs over the years?
Uh, it's been a few. We did a trip where we bought like they have like a photo pass thing where they'll take all the pictures for
Hmm.
you and they upload them to the internet. And we went around and met scads of characters that
Hmm.
trip. That was a lot of fun.
How many trips have you taken total?
6 or 7, I would say.
Okay,
We
and
used to go fairly regularly, um, and I had never gone uh, until Cage and I were dating, and he took me on my first trip, and I became like a crazed maniac, and I was like, okay, I want to go back. I want to go back. Let's go again. Let's go again. So we for a while went every year, and it's just gotten like incredibly expensive. It's not
yeah,
affordable at all to do that anymore.
when was the last time you went?
Uh, we took a short trip. It was 2017, I believe. We went for like a weekend trip down around Christmas time. So
Okay,
I think that was our last trip.
okay. So you haven't gotten to see is it Star Wars? Yeah, the
No,
Star Wars
haven't
world. You
seen
haven't
Star
seen
Wars.
now.
Pandora, haven't seen that
Yeah,
yet.
because they've got a bunch of new things in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
Okay, and
Oh, he says 2018, he says, was the last time we went.
so are you attempting to plan a major trip, even with the price now, anytime soon?
Yes. I have been trying to go on a trip with my parents for the past 3 years. We've been rescheduling and rescheduling and
Yeah.
rescheduling because of COVID. So I'm hoping that this next time that we reschedule, February of next year,
Okay.
hopefully we'll get down there because I want to get down for the 50th anniversary celebration. They're
Hmm.
doing um they're doing that for a year and a half just because I
Yeah.
think
How
because
many
of the
people?
pandemic. Yeah, and how many people. So I'd like to get down there before all of that stuff ends.
Well, and my understanding is that Disney anymore has so many guests on any given day, especially if it's nice weather, that everything's just jam-packed, long ass lines for everything, including food. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost like you have to either spend extra money to try to get stuff done, fast passes or whatever,
Mhm.
or really plan ahead. Now, I remember speaking to a former friend of mine about this who was also a big Disney fan, and she said, "Yeah, if you want to go down there and see everything, you need 2 weeks." You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
so the last time I was at Disney was probably like 35 years ago or something like
Wow.
that. It's been
What?
that long, some family vacation where my parents just completely got obliterated by dealing with 2 kids and going down to Disney for a week.
Yeah, and there's a lot more now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to go see that stuff. But I also look at the cost of that and I'm like, yeah, I don't necessarily think it's quite worth that amount of money to me.
Yeah.
Um, Especially if I'm going down like that, I might want to do a type of a trip where I'm hitting several theme parks at the same time. Like
Oh,
they
yeah,
got a Bush
Universal's right there.
Universal Busch Gardens, I think is
Mhm.
still down there, and I think there's a Six Flags down there somewhere too. You know,
Yeah,
doing that sort of thing. Um, so maybe if money was no object,
absolutely.
but your fandom on the other hand definitely might say that that price is worth it, and you
Mhm.
definitely want to make it a thing again. And if you're moving down in that area, at the very least you're saving travel costs.
For sure.
and,
Well,
and
I mean, end goal is I want to work at Disney World.
oh,
Yeah.
see, that's a sneaky way to get into the park and see everything. And
Right.
I used to work at Cedar Point, and that lost its luster real quick.
Aw.
But that's interesting. Yeah, hadn't even considered that. You know, you get a job working for there. What would you like to do as an employee of the park?
I want to play the fairy godmother,
Uh, from
like from
Shrek?
Cinderella.
Oh, from Cinderella. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
This is
Interesting.
end goal, end goal. Like this is my retirement plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, yeah, by that age, you might have some gray or white hair, and a
Mhm.
couple of wrinkles, and just to fit right into that role. That now
Yeah.
at that point is going to be 100 years old.
Yep.
See, so you're going to have entire generations of kids that have never even seen that, and you'd be the person to introduce them to that. You know?
Yeah. Stand on the float and wave.
Yeah. All right. Oh, she was evil in Shrek. I don't. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been hinting at it. I believe Short and Sweet is actually evil in her private life, and she just doesn't
Yeah,
share
that's
that
it.
persona on stream, and she'd be able to do
Cage
that
knows.
version of it too. Yeah. Okay. Anything like what are the defining characteristics of Disney that really appeal to you as a person?
Oh, I don't know. I think I've always liked it. I grew up watching the movies and everything.
Hmm.
The music is always really good in Disney. The music again. Uh in Disney, good lyrics, the good storytelling, and it's always changing. There's always something new, there's always something different. You can go to Disney World 100 times and see something that you never noticed before.
Right.
So I don't know, that's what I like about it, I guess.
When I was growing up, one of the things that I thought was absolutely uh, awesome about Disney was how they had been pioneers in the animatronic field. And they
Mhm.
had, their Hall of Presidents and It's a Small World and all those things that, it wasn't necessarily a thing in any other theme park because they were such pioneers and made that such a, I mean, even later in later years, the Country Bears,
Mhm.
and I remember, don't, yeah, I think it's a Jimmy Neutron thing now, if I'm not mistaken, but they used to have these kind of like uh, sit-in movie things where you'd all file into the theater and they had characters up on the screens and live people coming out on stage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I even remember one of the things they produced was a Michael Jackson film named Captain EO.
Captain EO,
Yeah,
yeah.
and nobody really remembers that unless you're our age and you grew up with it in the 80s or saw it in Disney or some.
Yeah.
It is available on Daily Motion. I saw it, and
They
I
actually brought it back for a few
did
years. I
they
don't know if
really?
it's yeah, I don't know if it's still there, but the uh first few times that Cage and I went down, they
Hmm,
had it at Epcot and we went and watched that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, pioneering in animatronics, I got to imagine they pretty much paved the way for places like Chuck E. Cheese or
Oh, sure.
any of these other places that then took animatronics and put it into something a little more local for kids.
Yeah.
Um, and Disney was always on the cutting edge of entertainment technology for many years. Maybe not so much
Mhm.
anymore, as they're focusing on other things, but they're still producing gobs and gobs of movies and television shows. Hell, they have 2 or 3 TV channels on cable.
Yeah. Their own
Um,
network now. The stream service.
yeah, yeah, the streaming service where you can pretty much almost watch anything that is in
Mhm.
Disney history, except for the one thing that they don't
They
like
don't talk
because
about.
yeah, which I found a copy, so we'll definitely have to have a watch party night for Song of the South.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think I've ever actually
I
seen it.
I saw it as a kid before it became this big thing. But I think it's only one of two Disney movies that was never ever released on VHS, and it was because of that controversy. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, I did find a digital copy on the interwebs. You're not going to want to know who I killed to get it, but we will definitely do that because yes, I know it is, pretty exclusive, and I was happy seeing it again for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
So, uh, all right. Anything else that like really snaps and pops about Disney that you would like to share with my audience? Things that are why it is such a big part of your life.
I don't know. I think
Okay.
that's all of it.
Well, and you established a connection there with the music. Like
Mhm.
you've got your music world, and then you've got your Disney world, and then you've got your Disney music world
Yeah,
in the
it
middle.
intersects.
Yeah. So let's do this first. Favorite Disney movie of all time?
This changes a lot for me. It just depends on my mood. Usually I say Mary Poppins.
Okay.
Sometimes I say The Little Mermaid.
Hmm.
Other
The
times
one with
it's
the
The Lion
penis on the
King.
cover?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have that copy of the VHS.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not getting rid of that.
Oh, that penis might be worth something someday.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so maybe toss up between Mary Poppins, Lion King, and Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Anything else that would maybe fit the bill
Oh,
there?
my favorite character is Archimedes. That's why he's my emote
Oh yeah, yeah. Now
from
that's from
The Sword and the Stone.
yes. Okay. Now, Dad, you got to do a watch party for that sometime because I have not seen
You
that
never seen
in.
it?
No, I've
Oh,
seen
you're
it.
gonna.
I've seen it, but it
Okay.
has literally been 35 years. So,
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
we can
like
do
to see
that.
that again. I initially thought he was from Bedknobs and Broomsticks,
Okay.
which I haven't seen that in forever either, but I wasn't positive on that. So yeah, we definitely have to see that one sometime soon. And I never got so much into the cartoons because with our upbringing as Jehovah's Witnesses, nothing that entailed magic. There was that rule was bent sometimes, like when we were talking about, say, Flubber, the original
Okay.
Flubber,
Mhm. Well, that was
uh,
like science magic.
yeah, exactly. Or the Shaggy Dog, or
Oh,
the Love Bug, those types of movies that came out. Pete's Dragon. I mean, clearly he's a magic dragon,
sure.
but yeah, that was kind of acceptable because they weren't promoting magic as this awesome thing that, you should do.
Right.
Um, and so that was one of my favorites growing up, Pete's Dragon. Um,
That's a good one.
yeah, and looking back at it as an adult, I mean it. I never knew who Helen Reddy was until maybe 20 years ago. And then
Mhm.
I found out who that was, and then I go back, oh, she's the star of the movie that I loved as a kid all those days, and that's why it was a musical, you know.
Yeah.
Um, those sorts of things. So yes, I see the strong connection with the music and the Disney. All right, so we did favorite Disney movie. Uh, Specific character is Archimedes, your emote there. What is your favorite Disney song of all time?
Ooh. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Okay, can you spell that?
Yeah, I can actually. I used to practice spelling that as a kid. I was weird.
Yeah. That's all right.
I thought it was cool I could spell it. So yeah, I used to practice spelling that.
So that little bit of weirdness there might be considered extraordinary because I guarantee you that most people probably can't spell that made up word. And if they
I
try, they're like,
suppose so.
what, where was I in the middle of that? You know.
Yeah.
Um, and we all are weird in one way or another. See, it's not the things that make us, um, it's not a negative thing. It's the things
Oh
that make
no.
us unique. It's the things that make
Hmm.
us interesting. So that's a nice little tidbit there that you knew how to spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious before you were born. And
I would probably have to write it now. I
yeah.
would probably have to write it out.
All right. So, any other Disney songs that really stand out to you?
Any of the Lion King stuff.
Mm.
Anything.
Well, I
Be
mean,
prepared.
you you
Yeah.
you
Circle of
had
Life. Anything from
you
Lion
had
King.
Elton John and Tim Rice teaming up
Yeah.
to do a big portion of that soundtrack where you can't go wrong,
Not
you
at all.
know. So yeah, I could definitely see that, and there's a lot of fantastic songs in them. In fact,
Mhm.
I would say in general, the songwriting and performances for Disney movies for many, many years has been phenomenal. Like I absolutely loved the music from Aladdin,
Oh
and
yeah. Very good.
Little Mermaid is great, and there was also, growing up and being in choir in school, we would often do little bits of Disney songs here and there. Um, so, did you have any other type of connection with music in that regard when you were in school, band or choir or anything like that?
I Yeah, I was in band. I was supposed to do choir, but I switched school districts between 5th and 6th. And the way that their schedule was at the new school district, you had to choose one or the other. And of course, my mom had bought a flute, so it was like,
Mm.
well, you're doing band. Um so I didn't join the choir then, and then at one point in high school, I was in a play and I was just like goofing off in the back and I was singing. I was actually singing Mary Poppins. Um and somebody looked at me and they're like, "You should do singers." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't done choir up until this point, so why would I start now, I guess?" And I had so much going on at that point that it was like I can't put any more on my plate, but yeah, I never did choir. I probably should have.
Well, that's all
I
right.
think I would have enjoyed it more than band.
What about karaoke? Like,
No.
yeah,
Oh no.
no, no,
No, no, no, no.
that wasn't a thing
Nope.
for you in adulthood, getting up there and
Too shy to do that.
having
Too
some
shy to do
liquid
that.
courage and, belting out a Disney song.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. That
Mhm.
means no. Um, okay, so you played the flute, and how many years were you in band?
I started in 5th grade. I left in 11th, so
Oh, so that's a
too
good
many.
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you enjoy that? I mean, was it a big thing that you wanted to return to every year?
I liked the marching band aspect of it because we got to go to the games and
Hmm.
like hang out with our friends in the stands, and it was more of the reason I kept doing it was the social aspect of it
Okay.
rather than like wanting to play the flute professionally. That was never gonna be a thing for me.
Do you still have your flute?
No, no.
What happened to it?
Uh, I think my mom sold it after I decided I was done.
Okay.
Because I think she had refurbished it at one point, and I think that was right before I decided I was done. So
Oh, because I was thinking we could have,
yeah,
short and sweet playing the flute, tuba playing the tuba, and
the
Joel playing the
tuba.
piano. piano type of collaboration here.
Yeah. Well,
Steph played the flute as well. Maybe you can borrow hers.
maybe.
Okay. Um, let's shift gears a little bit here now. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna take a break and then we'll come back and go in a different direction after that. So stay
Okay.
tuned. We're going to take a short commercial break and then we'll be right back with our guest, short and sweet. 1 second. All right, welcome back. So now what I'd like to do is let's move away from some of your interests there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like how you were growing up as a child into your teenage years? How
Oh boy.
maybe your personality developed to the point where you are today?
Okay. I remember being kind of an asshole as a kid.
Were you one of the mean girls?
No, I like picked on my brother a lot.
Oh, is he younger
Yeah.
than you?
He's 3 years younger than I am.
Okay, and how does he treat you now?
Oh, we're fine now.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah, we're
Okay.
fine now.
Is
I
you
don't know how he's forgiven.
eh,
He gave back though. I
okay.
mean, there's it was a back and forth for sure, but I think I was an instigator a lot of the time.
Mm,
Um, and then pretty I was a pretty good student. So that was kind of like a lot of my motivation as a teenager, but then I like towards the end of high school, I kind of hit that rebellious like I want to get out and do whatever I want.
ah,
Yeah, I hit that stage pretty hard. So I got married 2 months after I graduated high school, um, much to my parents' unhappiness.
if you don't mind me asking more personal questions like that, how long were you
Oh
married
yeah,
the
that's
first
fine.
time?
5 years.
5 years.
Well,
Uh,
5-ish. Yeah.
five-ish. Uh,
Mhm.
why did you end that relationship?
Uh, it was ended for me.
Oh, so you didn't decide.
No,
Okay.
it was a very, very bad relationship.
Yeah.
We got married for the wrong reasons. We were both very young, and did not know how to be in that kind of relationship, I don't think.
Okay.
So, it was messy. Um,
Well, that's fine, and you don't have to
yeah.
necessarily go into details. Um, So what did you learn from that first marriage and going into the second?
Slow down, take your time, get to know a person before rushing into things because I definitely did that.
Did you I'm assuming he was a high school sweetheart.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, did you think you really loved him at the time?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay, and
What my understanding of love was at the time, yeah.
now looking back on that, how do you think you have grown in your understanding of love?
I think that at the time, I was just so desperate to be out on my I wanted to be independent,
Yeah.
and that was like an avenue for me to be independent
Hmm.
in my head. Um, and I don't know. There was a lot of just really confusing stuff there. I don't think I was old enough to really know what love was at that time.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you think you more fully understand it now?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of jobs did you have at that time in your life, 18 into 19, getting out of school?
I worked at McDonald's. That was my first like real job. I did like side jobs, babysitting and like lawn mowing and things like that before that, but my first real job was at McDonald's. I became a manager. As soon as I turned 18, they wanted me to be a manager. Um,
Hmm.
so I did that. And I was in college at the same time, and I hit like burnout phase. So
Yeah, it's
I
rough.
yeah, it is really hard to work full time and go to college full time. Um, so for a while I was just kind of like jumping around here and there. I took breaks from college. Um, and then finally I was just like, I need to go back and get it done. So I worked at McDonald's, I worked at JC Penney's, I worked at Dairy Queen for a really long time. Um, and then I started working at the pharmacy, and that was um I was finishing up. No, I was done with college at that point, I think. Uh when I started into pharmacy.
Okay. And how long have you
So yeah.
been doing pharmacy with your degree now?
Oh gosh. I think I started in 2013.
Okay, so a good almost 10 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Okay.
been in pharmacy a long time.
And do you like that? Do you want to stick with that as your career for the rest of your life?
I don't know if that'll be like my rest of my life thing. I really have stumbled upon like a really amazing company. Um, for a long time, I was just,
Yeah, I remember.
working at this place that just tears you down. But the place I'm working now is amazing, and I'm gonna work there as long as I can.
Yeah, I remember that switch because that was not too long ago and how happy you were to be
Yeah.
getting out of that old shithole and going
Mm-hmm.
into this new place that treated you much better as a person.
Yeah, it was last October that it changed
Hmm.
and into this new place, and it's worth the drive every day. Well worth it.
So were you at that shithole for 9 years?
I
Eight
worked
years?
there for, well, no, I worked there for a few years. I left because they had moved to like a 24/7 operation, and I've always had kind of like a little bit of insomnia, and I was like, "Oh, that'll be perfect. I'll work the third shift." No. Nope. Third shift is not for me. So I had to get out, and I knew that the only way out was to leave. So I left and I went back to Dairy Queen for a while
Now,
and was decorating cakes and being a manager there. And
now that's a little bit interesting. Let's pause on that for a second.
Mhm.
The first of all, would you consider yourself a night owl or more of a day person?
I used to be a night owl.
Okay.
Now I fall asleep on the couch at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So uh
And
I don't know
and
if that's age. I don't know what
yeah,
that is.
it could very well be because I find it interesting. I've always been a night owl and I absolutely
Mhm.
love third shift. Any job I've ever had, even when I was working Hardee's, third shift, I absolutely loved it because I am more awake at night and then getting to bed basically when the sun comes up and then waking up in the afternoon. That's perfect for me. My dad, this also reminded me of something he said, which he's always been a day person as long as I can remember. He was getting up at the ass crack of dawn, and almost every single job he had also was like that. He would get there at 6 in the morning or something, and then that was just who he was. And now that he's retired, he's like, I've kind of recently felt like I want to stay up longer, and I'm not quite such
Which
the early bird. Yeah. So that might be it, or you just get into a groove for so many years, and then you realize that's not actually you in the first place.
Mm.
So you used to be a night owl, but now you're more in a
Yeah,
morning
I get up
person.
at 6 in the morning every day now.
But that's only for your job, really.
Right. Yeah.
So without
Yeah.
the job, like if you didn't have anything going on for a set amount of time, what time do you think you'd be getting up and going to bed?
Oh, I would probably revert back to a night owl
Okay.
if it wasn't for that.
Okay.
Because on the weekends I stay up pretty late.
Well, and that definitely has got to be a sign of aging, that you can't stay up as long as you want to anymore
You fall
when
asleep
you
on
when
stream.
you have to, yeah, when you have to work first shift.
Yeah,
You
right,
got to
right.
be up at 6, 7, 8 in the morning even, and get to work and do your thing. And then when you come home, okay, well, that's great, but you're not going to be able to stay up until 2 or 3.
Right.
It's just not going to work. So I find that interesting, though. Yeah, maybe then, but you said you worked third shift and it wasn't working for you. Why wasn't third
No.
shift working for you?
I couldn't make the adjustment. I was on, it was supposed to be a 7 on, 7 off schedule, which I was like, cool, wonderful. It's like a week of vacation every other week. But they never found that other person to do the other 7 days. So I was doing Thursday through, no, that's not right. I was doing 5 days in a row, and then I had like Friday, Saturday. Oh, Sunday to Thursday, and then I had Friday and Saturday off. But on Friday and Saturday, I tried to keep a normal schedule and
Oh, you
be able
can't
to
switch
see
back and
people and
forth.
be
Yeah.
social. Yeah, so I was switching back and forth. And what I would find was when I would get off of work, I would either go to sleep and sleep the whole time until I had to go to work, or I wouldn't sleep at all. And then I would go to work and be
Yeah.
an absolute zombie. And that cycle would just repeat and repeat. And I just felt worse and worse and worse. And it
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah, that
I gotta
probably took a
stop
big
this.
toll.
Yeah, it was not good for me.
So do you think if you had been able to get on a regular schedule where you are keeping those same hours, like our friend Malegio works third shift and he's going in at 10 p.m. and getting off at 6 a.m. and he works 5 days a week, and there's obviously some overtime involved with that. But if you had that set schedule where you were able to make that work, and then you're getting home from work at say 7 o'clock in the morning, and then going to sleep until late in the afternoon, do you think you could make that third shift schedule work that way by not actually trying to do things during the day when you should be sleeping?
I don't know. I don't think I could.
Okay.
I think it's just too hard on me, and I like having a normal. All I've ever wanted was like a 9 to 5 my whole life, because I always worked like in the restaurants and stuff. You work second shift,
Right.
you know, and all I ever wanted was a 9 to 5.
Well, you got it now.
I got it now.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Um, so let's shift gears a little bit again now, and let's talk a little bit about what's important to you as a person. Yeah, like you've got you with your individual personality and mind and belief system and uh, uh, thoughts, and then you've got everything else that's out in the world, everything that you agree or disagree with. So what is important to you as a person besides Disney?
Uh, Number one is like the honesty is like the most important thing to me. Like if I know that a person is being dishonest, I just that's not my kind of person.
Hmm.
I can't vibe with them. Honesty is like number one for me.
Okay. Now, on that specific note, are you talking about people that um, are trying to deceive you, or are we talking about like a pure type of honesty where you don't want that person to butter you up or say things because
Yeah.
they don't want to hurt your feelings or anything like that? Do you want
I,
like total honesty, or do you want?
no, it's more of like just be who you are and don't try to be something you're not and don't I
Okay.
don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess.
No, that's all right. That's all right. If you have any more thoughts on
Yeah.
that, let us know.
Mhm.
Um, what would you then? Is there any other facets that are important to you besides honesty?
I think just being a nice, kind person, like politeness goes a long way. I don't know, just trying to be a good person. Don't be an asshole, I guess.
And I totally relate to that. I really get it.
Yeah.
So how, without giving us like any specific details on who you voted for, parties that you agree with, or even uh, policies that you agree with, how does that translate to you on a political and governmental level? Like, what do you look for in candidates or issues or decisions on the part of the government?
Uh, I find myself a lot of times kind of in the middle of the road, honestly, and it depends on a lot of times it depends on the issue
Hmm.
as to where I fall, but growing up I was raised more democratic. Um, but the older I get, the more I find myself kind of in the middle, and I honestly think a lot of people fall in that middle category, but because of the way that politics are and the way that things are set up in the United States, we have to choose a side.
Well, people feel they have to choose a side
Yeah.
because that's the way it's set up. We don't
Mhm.
actually have to, but
Right. That's true. And there's been years where I've said, "I'm not voting for anybody.
right, because
I don't like any of them. I'm not
they're all
voting for any of them."
terrible, right?
Right.
Um,
So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like a as far as like particular what I look for in a particular candidate, it'd be like don't just don't just say what you think I want to hear. Say what you actually feel. Say what you actually think and what you're going to push for and not,
yeah.
what you think I want.
How often are you able to like hear a candidate and decipher that they are not the type of person that you want to have anything to do with because they're not being as honest as you would hope they are?
I mean, I think a lot of it goes into like how much research you put in. If they're saying one thing but they're voting another way,
Hmm.
that's a telltale sign right there. Is they're just telling you what you want to hear.
Right.
If most of their if they're debating and most of their debate is just attacking another opponent,
Yeah.
no, I'm not there for that, Not
Uh,
what that's about.
yeah, one of the most maddening things for me was watching political debates and the person that is moderating the debate asks them a question and they don't answer it. And they just
Mhm.
go off and start talking about something else that they want to talk about, or like you said, attacking an opponent. And I'm just like, okay, X, bye.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So honesty is a really big thing. Um, And it sounds to me like that to you that leans more towards not putting up a fake front, not trying to be what you think everyone else wants to be, just being a genuine person who is okay with what they are and what they believe in. How has that affected some of your relationships over the last, say, 20 years?
I can as far as like close friends, I can count on probably both of my hands the number of people that I allow
Hmm.
myself to get that close to.
Right.
Because of that reason, because you can see through it sometimes. And if I can see through it, then I don't, I'll be cordial, I'll be nice and um but I'm not gonna let you into my inner circle because I've got to protect myself.
Right. Well, um, I was actually struggling a little bit with the interview with you as a guest because the past two, it's nothing bad. The past two interviews that I've done, I was able to think of something special that I could do with that person or say to that person that would make them feel valued. So I was, just closely listening to your answers through all of this, and then what you just said there struck me as to what it is that I can say to you that might make this special for you. And that is, uh, if honesty is something that you clearly value in other people, out of and I'm like that very much so myself. Like I can't stand when people are fake or when they try to deceive me in order to gain an advantage over me or anything like that. So I totally relate to that. Part of the reason why you and I have the relationship that we do, and the relationship I have with Cage, and the relationship I have with Doom, is because you most definitely embody that aspect yourself. You are probably one of the most honest people that I know, and that's why you are in that relationship position with me that you are in, because I look at you and I look at your history and our past conversations and those things, and I know that is a thing that is a very deep aspect, and or I don't want to say deep aspect, a very thoroughly anchored part of your personality and who you are as a person. And that is absolutely commendable that you are that honest yourself and can be in that position where then you can hold others to that same standard. So you are the living embodiment of the honesty that you seek in others, and I
Oh,
greatly appreciate it.
oh, thank you. That means a lot.
And quite frankly, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't want to talk to people if they're doing that, if they're not presenting those types of personality traits, because there's so many fake people in the world, so many people that are out there just to make a buck or just to rip you off, or I mean, there's entire uh not species, there's entire races that they're almost their entire race is based around this is how you act as an individual, take any advantage you can get, rip any person off that you can, lie in order to get what you want. And I mean, I'm just looking at stuff like that, and politicians are right at the top of that list. It's like, well, why do we have only one out of every 10 million politicians actually tells the truth and is honest?
Right.
So that's more specifically why I asked about the government connection there, because I see such a huge problem with honesty in the people that are seeking our votes.
Absolutely.
And how difficult have you found it to like try to find those honest people and then support them?
It's very frustrating. Like I said, a lot of times I just kind of throw my hands up and say, nah, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. And
It's
probably more so increasingly over the last decade, right?
yeah, I would say so.
It's gotten worse and worse.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
if I can give you a little bit of advice on that, don't ever lower your standards.
Oh,
Stay
I
true
won't.
to
I
that.
won't. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so on that note, what if you were able to send a message to every single person in this world that they would actually hear or read and take the time to understand something that you feel is what the entire world needs to hear, what would your message be?
Um, I saw this in there and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, what would the message be? And like I think don't be an asshole kind of sums it up. But have patience, have grace,
How would you define
just
grace?
forgiveness, like try to think about your what you would do if you were in another person's shoes.
Okay,
Like
so
everything's not all
the
about
golden
you.
rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of that.
Okay. Um, and what do you think, aside from maybe honesty, the world is severely lacking
Ooh, a lot of things.
in?
Just maybe a moral compass in general.
Okay. Um, the world, as I see it, has so many differing opinions as to what is morality in the first place. And we're going to, on a future show, be discussing that a little more in depth than on the EBC channel. But um, yeah, I mean, not only the aspect of having a moral compass, but the fact that there's so many things that come to mind that you think the world is lacking in. I mean, I'm right there with you as well. Um, how about a backbone? Let's stand up for what's right. Like the stuff that's going on in Ukraine right now, and anything else that is. I found it really interesting. Um, there was, I don't know, some basketball coach somewhere or something there, because the NBA has been playing a lot in China and doing
Mhm.
tours over in China, especially in the off season. And there were calls for them to not do that because of the mistreatment of the Uyghurs. Yeah, by the China has basically been just imprisoning the Uyghurs over there, which is I think a sect of Muslims. In I may be wrong on that. It might be Christians, but some religious faction over there, and they just imprison them for practicing their religion. And the same thing is happening to Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia. Before Putin ever was considering invading Ukraine, uh, he started imprisoning Jehovah's Witnesses over there for practicing their religion. And of course, everybody that's a Jehovah's Witness knows about it because they have their internal news stuff. But it's like, yeah, how about this? How about you don't label these people extremists and throw them in prison because you don't, understand or believe in their religion, and let's have a little bit of a moral compass there to say, this is not a proper and right thing to do. You're
Yeah.
violating their rights or whatever else.
Mhm.
Um, is there anything else that comes to mind in that whole what the world is lacking thing?
I don't know. It's like everyone seems to want to impart their opinions, and if you disagree, then they have to put it out there for everyone to see. And it's just like if they're not if a person isn't hurting anyone, they're not hurting themselves, they're not hurting anyone else, and they're just going about, living their life the best way that they know how. Who are you to say anything about it?
Okay, so like mind your own business.
Yeah, kind of, you know?
That used to be a thing. That used to be a thing.
Not
Not so much
anymore.
anymore.
Everybody, the court of public opinion is just
Yeah,
everybody's got to have their say.
yeah. Okay. Um, let's see here. Um, let's go back now and let's talk about more of your future, and maybe you can tie in some notes about how you view yourself in this world, in this this drop in the ocean of everything that else exists on this planet. Um, what kind of goals do you have for your future aside from moving to Orlando and working as the I can't even remember the character name now.
The fairy godmother.
Fairy
Yeah.
godmother, yeah,
Uh,
at Disney. So that's
uh,
that's that's end career maybe and
yeah, that's
location.
long term.
What other goals do you really want to meet? in the rest of your life?
Well, we're trying to move. That's probably a short term, probably the most short term major
Mhm.
goal that we've got going on. Um, I want to travel more. One thing that I do want to do is see all 50 states. I haven't yet done that.
Okay.
Um, but
What about other
we've
countries?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I love to travel. Um, get on the boat or fly somewhere. I'd like to fly to Europe
Okay.
and just spend some time there. Uh I definitely want to see Greece. I want to go to Germany. Like that's where like my ancestry is from.
Okay.
So I'd like to kind of explore those countries. Um but yeah, I mean, I love to travel.
Okay. So as much travel as you can fit in while you're
Mhm.
when you're not helping the kids figure out who this person from a movie 100 years ago was.
Yeah.
Um, okay, and how do you see your career as it currently is shaping into those goals in the future?
Um, right now, we just kind of went through like a major like our company actually merged with like a bigger company um that has supply chain um departments, and I think eventually that might be something I look into, which would require a lot of travel, I think.
Okay.
Um so they also have like an advanced team that goes in when we're going to open up like new partnerships. Um, an advanced team will go in and they live, like one's in Hawaii right now. They live there for 3 or 4 months and kind of get everything set up. And then when they hire the people on, then they put them in there. Then they leave and go to the next place. So that might be something in the future, career wise, that would tie into traveling for
Okay.
me.
So you could see yourself definitely doing work travel and then seeing the sights while you're doing it.
While I'm there, yeah.
Okay. I see. All right. We're gonna switch gears one more time back towards some more personal things, and then we're gonna end with gaming and your Twitch channel.
Okay.
So, who? Well, it's often very times difficult to do introspection. So, what are some things that you absolutely love about yourself, and what are some things that you hate about yourself?
Oh boy. Um I I think I have a very good sense of humor, I would say.
Okay.
Um I, I'm pretty easygoing. Uh so I do like that about myself. I wish I had more confidence. It's something that I've always struggled with, like having anxiety. Um it's just always been a thing for me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something I don't like about myself.
Um, would you say that your anxiety, because I had a pretty deep discussion on anxiety with Doom,
Mhm.
would you say that your anxiety is mostly linked to your self-confidence?
I don't think so. I think it's just I think I've had it all my life and only within the past 10 years realized that, like, oh, look back on things that have happened to me and I'm like, oh, well, that's why I didn't speak up. That's why I didn't, I think it's always been there.
Right.
Um, and I don't know why.
So what would you say is the primary cause of your anxiety then?
Huh. Uh, I don't know.
Like the times that you can remember clearly being anxious, what instigated it?
Maybe just needing to speak up and I couldn't, and feeling like I couldn't.
Okay, so maybe not being the center of attention. or
Or
not?
just like unwilling to interrupt like what was going on, I think.
Okay. So
Mhm.
maybe you're maybe that is your self-confidence. You're placing yourself in a position where you're not wanting to be an interruption to what else is going on, because you have placed yourself in a secondary position. You're not as important as what's going on.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
So does that lead you maybe to uh places where you are putting yourself at a disadvantage because you don't want to impose on others?
I would say at times
Okay.
that, yeah, maybe that does.
Um, can you describe a time that you were having high anxiety and what how that played out? Yeah.
Every day. Uh, um, a lot of times I will, if my anxiety is really high, I'll lose my temper.
Okay.
Like if I can't get it under control, I'll lose my temper.
Okay. So that kind of like bursts
Hmm.
out in anger.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I ever see you angry, I know to just back the fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cage knows that as well by this point.
Hmm.
All right. What are some methods that you have used now? It sounds like okay, so you're far more aware of your anxiety and what causes it in the last 10 years, you said. What are some of your methods for reducing your anxiety?
Self-medication, uh coloring, playing games,
Well, yeah, no, 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 no,
just
no. I
kind
mean,
of, yeah.
that's a big thing, especially in the last, I would say 10 years, is adult coloring books.
Yeah.
So that definitely calms you down and centers you.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just to having something to focus on.
So not necessarily coloring, just anything that you can focus your energy on and get your mind off of the other stuff.
Yeah, it could be like Sudoku or crossword or
Okay.
like word search or anything like that that I can just hone in on and
Okay.
bring it down.
How many adult Disney coloring books do you own?
I think I just have one.
Just one.
Just one.
Just
Just one Disney one.
notice I described that as adult Disney coloring books because I don't think there are any. I think they're all designed for kids. But
Probably.
any children's coloring book could become an adult coloring book, you know.
Yeah, if an adult is coloring in it, it's an adult coloring book.
Um, Crayons or colored pencils?
Colored pencils all the way. Yeah.
Crayola or some other brand?
Uh, what is that? I have it's like a more of a like an art store brand that I have. I can't remember the name of it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Um, what?
I actually have an app too on the phone where I can like
Yeah,
have
yeah, I
color
remember
by number on the
paint by
phone.
number. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen those apps, and I
Hmm.
have used them from time to time. Right now, I'm kind of into Sudoku, um, but even that, to me, it's like, it's not necessarily stress relieving.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
Yeah, sometimes that's more stressful if
yeah.
you can't figure it out.
Which is also why I think I'm not a big gamer, because like it's no secret that not too long ago I rage quit Lego Indiana Jones, which I mean, it's like. You know, if I find a game is just stressful and after a while I'm like, this isn't entertaining, this isn't fun. What the hell am I doing this for, you know?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so aside from paint by number or adult coloring or anything like that, any other stress relievers for you? Um, Maybe with your music or other things that you do?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's times where I'll just pop in earbuds and kind of veg out a little bit.
Okay.
Listen to an album
All right.
and you feel better.
Favorite TV shows?
Um, all right. Well, here's a reveal. I really like trash TV.
Trash TV? Can you define that, please?
Trash TV. Jersey Shore, reality dating shows, like just garbage. There's no redeeming qualities about them. Uh yeah.
Well, back in the '90s, that's like the people that watch Jerry Springer all the time.
Right.
So what's the appeal in trash TV for you?
I think you just don't have to think about it, you know? There's nothing there to analyze. You can just kind of put it on and watch other people's
Bullshit.
mess that they've
Yeah.
made in their lives and feel a little bit better about your own mess.
I think it's on Jersey Shore. Is that the where Snooki is
Hmm.
from? Okay,
Yep.
I remember the controversy when Snooki got pregnant,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, "Is this really the type of person that we want giving birth to and raising a child?" You know. Okay, so trash TV.
Trash TV.
What
Mhm.
else? What kind of other TV shows fit your fancy? With Star Trek, we know, but
Obviously, yeah, obviously Star Trek. I I like a lot of crime shows.
okay,
Documentaries in particular, just like true crime stuff.
yeah.
Um, for a while, I thought about like going to school to be a paralegal. So I really like anything that has like the court aspects of
Hmm.
like a criminal case, things like that. So like your Criminal Minds, your Law and Order, that kind of stuff.
Did you see
Um,
the Tiger King?
yeah, of course.
And what was that other one?
um,
Making a Murderer.
Making a Murderer, yeah.
You saw
All of
that?
those
Okay.
all those pop culture yeah, the show of the moment. You gotta
Okay. I've always loved court dramas. Like to
Mhm.
actually hear the arguments between the lawyers and the law and all that other stuff, you know. So court dramas have always been a big favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's switch over to movies then. Some of your favorite movies of all time.
Horror movies of all kinds. Uh Nightmare on Elm Street is the like probably my favorite horror series.
Hmm.
Um but anything in that genre, I love it.
Okay, so anything horror, any
Yeah.
other movies that stand out
Um
that are not horror?
oh, that are not horror?
Yeah.
Um Mrs. Doubtfire is
Okay.
one that I is one of my top. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is another one
Mm,
for entirely different reasons. Uh they're both comedies, but they're totally on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
right.
Um yeah, I would say those are probably like my favorites. I kind of really like the newer just like the stupid I guess it's not newer anymore, but like Super Troopers, Super Bad,
Okay.
those kind of comedies. I really like those.
Okay. Um, so let's say there's a new movie coming out, and you're watching the trailer. What do you want to see in that trailer that's going to make you want to go see the movie?
I want to laugh if it's a comedy. If it's a scary movie, I want a good jump scare in the trailer, but I don't want you to give the entire thing away.
Okay.
Um it's nice to see like actors that you recognize in roles that you wouldn't expect them to be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're not big on spoilers at all. Like, don't spoil the
No,
movie for
no.
you.
So one of the most disappointing experiences I've ever had in a movie theater was going to see The Nun.
Hmm.
Um, that character in the Conjuring series was built up so perfectly, and they gave everything away in that trailer. And
Oh,
it was
okay.
just like, what was the point of seeing this movie? I saw it all. It was all there in the trailer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have I gotten aware yet? To the Nun?
To the
Because I mean, when I was watching the Conjuring universe, I was watching them in chronological order, so the Nun was actually first. And I can't remember. I think I only have two left in the series. I was gonna try to pick that up again soon because it's been, quite some time, and I was pretty busy with other things, and now it's a little bit slower for me, and I've got more time for that sort of thing. Although I've been, just spending gobs and gobs of hours playing Creativerse and just doing this mindless sandbox game. But yeah. Um yeah, I can totally relate on the horror, although my thing is I don't really care if there's spoilers or if somebody says something about it. Hey, did you see da 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 da? I'm like, I don't care. I still want to see the movie. I still want to see the process of the storyline and all of that. Even if I know the ending, I want to see, you know, the production and the special effects and all of that stuff. So that doesn't really
Yeah.
bother me. All right, so I know that if I want to raise your anxiety and piss you to fuck off, I need to tell you how the movie that you want to see ends.
Please no.
Okay.
That'll do it.
What are some things that make you different from other people that I mean, we talked about honesty before, but what are some things that you recognize make you a unique person?
Hmm. Um, I don't know. I've always felt kind of like a little different. I
How
don't
how
know
how would you
how to
describe that?
put I don't know, just weird. Weird.
Well, we're all weird in one way or another.
Mhm.
Um, like I can count on my one hand, the number of people that have not made a face when I say I drink pickle brine straight. We're all weird in one way or another. So I don't think that's a fair assessment to just say you're weird
Yeah.
because, so let's get a little more detail on that and be a little more positive about yourself. What is it that makes you unique that you think is a good thing that sets you apart from other people?
Uh, I don't know. I really I really don't know on that one. I'm stumped.
That's all right.
Uh
What about Cage? If you want to chime in on that one in the chat and some way in which your whiff is positively unique.
they're
And
both weird.
yeah, we're both weird. In the meantime, let's go ahead and switch gears then to gaming. So I know for a fact that you're going to be presenting with your episode of Arcade that's coming up here in the fall, a game that nobody else has even considered yet because it
Or
is,
heard of.
well, I don't know about heard of, but it is very unique in that it hasn't been approached by other people that have appeared on the show or even other people in our community. Like I haven't seen any of this anywhere, and I think part of that is because it's rather difficult to not only capture and stream, it is also difficult to play in many aspects. So
Yeah.
let's talk and just kind of run us through description of your gaming history from childhood on.
Oh, so there's me being born and then nothing, nothing until middle school.
Okay.
And my best friend got a Sega Genesis.
Okay, so you're like 12 or 13?
Yeah,
Okay.
about there. So I'd go to her house, we'd play. She had Sonic, she had the six pack, so all of those, the Golden Axe, Streets of Rage,
Okay.
columns. And then I think she had like Power Rangers and Toy Story or something, like a Disney game.
Okay, so
Um,
Genesis was your first gaming experience, essentially.
yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
think that was maybe well, I don't see around the same time period. So it could have been that around the same time period my grandfather started going to yard sales and picking up Ataris and Nintendos and Super Nintendos.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened first. I think that maybe the Atari stuff happened first. Um,
Okay.
but around that same general period of time. So I didn't have anything at home. It was only when I would go to her house or to my grandfather's that I would have access to video games.
So you were born in 84, so we're talking about
Mhm,
96 or 97 is when you're
mhm.
getting into that. Now that's the proper time for Sega Genesis, but that's not the proper time for Atari and Nintendo. That was when
Right.
we were kids, and you
Yeah.
never had that experience with any of those older consoles as a
Nope.
kid. So what would you say is like how did that kind of affect your gaming experience dealing with those older consoles for the first time 10 to 12, 15 years after the fact that they came out?
I mean, I don't think I didn't realize any different. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I knew the Atari was old. But I don't think I realized like how old the Nintendo was and like how much I had not, not had that as a kid, and missed out on having that around.
Right.
Because it was always go outside and play. Like we're not doing video games, go outside and play. Like
Well,
you're
and
not
I
getting one, don't ask.
I got to imagine that was a lot of families
Mhm.
growing up in that time, the parents get it in their mind that, it's just not something they want their kids to do. So nope, sorry, you can't have that by,
Yeah.
you know,
And then when you start, you're bad at it, so it's just like you gotta keep
over
trying,
and
keep
over
trying.
and over again. And yeah,
Yeah, repetition. You'll get a
especially
little.
because I mean, Sega Genesis probably had continues at that point, because
Mhm.
that was comparable with the Super Nintendo, and they definitely had thought of that, and that was more prevalent in games at the time. But you go back further, Atari stuff never had any of that. It was
Right.
you play until you die, and then you try it again, and you do that thousands
Mhm.
of times until you get it
Yeah.
right. Um, All right, so what were some of the games from that specific era that really stood out to you and stuck with you this whole time?
Dark Chambers, which is the game that I'll be doing for arcade.
Okay.
Dr. Mario was another one that I played a ton of. The Mario games, 1, 2, and 3, and Super Mario World. Uh, we had that, played that a lot. Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
we had all kinds. I mean, he would go to yard sales and just buy lots,
Yeah.
with 10 games or 15 games, and he had consoles everywhere because he wanted to get the games.
Right.
So he just had, you know, we had all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But those were like the favorites. Those were the ones that I would play over and over.
Okay. How often in say the past 10 or 15 years have you revisited some of those games from your early gaming experience?
Oh, quite a bit. I mean, Rob and I, when we were doing RAV Retro, we went through and did the Mario stuff. Um, Dark Chambers is the one that I have not picked up since I was a kid. So that
Okay.
will be interesting when I go to record that.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to have you on as the first guest in our season premiere, which I'm
Oh,
aiming for September 18th.
okay.
So as long as you guys aren't going to see Ramstein or anything else at that time, we will get that, and we will do an in-depth dive into that game. I've not heard of it before, but I'm not that
Yeah.
familiar. That's an Atari game, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Okay.
originally on the 2600.
Okay, so I'm not that familiar with most Atari games. That's like way back in my childhood. It's been forever since I've even touched anything remotely like that. I mean, aside from Pac-Man,
Yeah.
that's or Tetris, those kind of universal standards that were around back then and have had many iterations since then. Um, so that'll be interesting to see that, and hopefully you're not gonna have that much of a problem getting back into the game after all this time, and you know having fun with it. um
I think it'll be fun.
and anything else like that that you're planning on doing on your Twitch channel anytime soon? And when I say anytime soon, I mean like within the next year or two.
Um, as far as like old Atari stuff or just in general?
Just in general, games from your childhood.
Oh, not particularly. I have a lot of series that I want to play through. Um, uh, Paper Mario, so I'm still trying to struggle through that. Uh,
Yeah.
the Metroid challenge, I'm trying to get that. Um, the Mario Luigi, those are newer. They weren't like games from my childhood. I mean, Cage and I will probably play some more retro at some point. We haven't had a lot of free time to do our co-streams that we were doing for a while there.
Right. Yeah, because of the
Uh
scheduling and all that.
yeah, it's just I
It's
just feel
hard.
like I don't know, there's so many things that I want to do and I want to play through on stream, but just the scheduling is a nightmare.
Yeah. Okay. So that's games from the past. What are some of your more favorite modern games?
Animal Crossing, dumped a lot of time into that and still play it occasionally. Stardew Valley was another one that was like for a while I was nonstop every day playing Stardew Valley.
That was suggested to
Fallout
me.
76, yeah. Fallout 76 is another one that I play fairly regularly. Diablo. Um, I think that's about it for now.
Okay. How did you like Dead by Daylight? Or no, Phasmophobia that you were playing with Cage.
Phasma's a lot of fun. Yeah. I really like community games like that where you can like scribble and what's that other one we used to play where we have to draw the word or whatever it is.
Gartic Phone.
Um, yeah, Gardic Phone, anything like that. Party games like the social stuff. Uh, I love things like that.
Would you play Phasmophobia on your stream by yourself?
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Now there was, as least as far as I can remember, there was only maybe one or two actual straight out horror games that you were playing. What were those?
Those Who Remain was I think the first one I did. And then we did Cage and I did until no, not Until Dawn. Man of Medan.
Yeah, Man of Medan.
Yeah, which I don't know. I don't really consider that. I don't know if I consider that one a horror game. Like that one did not scare me whatsoever. He and I played Until Dawn off stream and I would consider that more of a horror-esque
Okay.
game. So,
But what was the first one you mentioned?
Those Who Remain.
Okay. How did that scare
Yeah.
you?
Oh.
Like, I mean, aside from the fact that we had sound alerts to try to scare the shit out of you every 30 seconds,
Yeah,
but like
you're trying
the game elements, how did that really strike you?
just the darkness and the light. Like you got to stay in the light, or else you're done for.
Right.
And those things are coming at you. Like just even seeing, like you turn the corner and you see those eyes,
Yeah.
just like staring into your soul, and it's jarring. But it had, it had a lot of like really scary elements where you're going around a corner and then there's something charging at you, or
Yeah.
something's always chasing you. But it
Um,
was a really fun game.
are there any other horror games that you would like to visit real soon?
Yeah, I that's a good idea, Cage. Eternal Darkness is one of the games that it's on GameCube. And I don't know if I played all the way through that, but that's definitely one that would be entertaining to watch. It messes with you. The game is designed, it's got a sanity meter, and the game is designed to mess with you if you drop your sanity too low.
Right.
So yeah, that might be one soon.
There you go. Have you come across any games in your history gaming experience that are just absolute fuck no, I'm never playing this again?
I don't think so. I mean, there's certain games that I kind of don't have a lot of interest in playing, but I don't think there's anything that I would say like, no, I'm never gonna play that.
Okay.
Like I'm not big on like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It I would play it if like a group of friends wanted to play it, but it's not something that I'm going to seek out.
Okay. Among the game genres, what are your favorite types? So we've got, platformers, puzzles, we've got shooters, we've got shooter looters, we've got um, any other type of that thing. I mean, one of our connections is Dr. Mario because we've both played that many times in the past, and that's
Yeah.
definitely a puzzle game. What
Mhm.
what type of genre really appeals to you?
Puzzle games are definitely up there. Platformers, whatever you would consider Animal Crossing, any of
Open world sandbox.
like oh okay, yeah, that game, that type of game is for me. Anything where you is like a collectathon type game.
So you want to get all the shit.
Oh yeah. I like to collect.
Okay. Do you
um
believe that there's a point at which a game like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing is going to no longer appeal to you because you just pretty much collected all the stuff there is to collect?
ooh. uh well, with Animal Crossing, there's literally like hundreds of thousands of items. So I don't know that that's feasible to get everything,
Okay.
to be honest. So, and I have like not played it as often. I mean, I was every day, multiple times a day playing that game. Now I pick it up once every few weeks. Um, Stardew Valley was more of like it's got a storyline throughout. So once the storyline was over, then I was kind of like, oh,
Okay.
I've messed around with it a little bit, but uh I don't know. I think I'll always go back to Animal Crossing, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay, that's fine. If there's anybody in our chat that would like to ask a question of our guest, short and sweet, please put it in the chat in the next couple of minutes here so I can ask it while we start to wrap up here. Um, so, the games that you play now, like what defines your decision to play this game at this moment? Like you're coming home from work, you just want to chill and relax, or you want some action. What are some of the feelings and emotions, or the circumstances and scenarios that might cause you to pick this game over that game?
Oh, it's heavily based on my mood. Like if I've had kind of a rough day at work, I'm gonna play Fallout because I want to shoot things. Uh
Okay. And
get my
you
my
can't
dailies.
shoot that raccoon in Animal Crossing.
Right, yeah. But if I'm more relaxed and I just wanna a lot of times with Animal Crossing I'll have the TV on and then I'll be playing it like, handheld so I can do both at once.
Okay.
Um so yeah, it's a lot of based on my mood. And then if I'm gonna stream, it's like, okay, do I feel like playing a game where I'm really gonna have to put forth a lot of effort and trial and error, or do I want something where I'm more relaxed and chill and just
Mm,
can kind of chat and yeah.
okay. So out of all those asinine questions that your husband asked in the chat, I want to ask, is the RAV series kind of on standstill, or are you going to planning to revive that soon? And in particular, because you were going through Zelda 2, uh, mostly because of your desire to play through the Zelda games, how big of a factor is that going to play in revisiting that stuff anytime soon?
Oh, it's definitely coming back. I can tell you that it's just a matter of scheduling. Um, so yeah, Zelda 2 is going to be, I think we're going to probably push through to finish that. And then we do have kind of we keep like lists and stuff on our phones of like, oh yeah, that would be good to play together, or like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we want to do that. So yeah, RAV's coming back. It's just I mean, I've honestly been on a little bit of a hiatus for a while now. Um,
Right.
it's just with the life things happening, COVID, and
And
damn near breaking my ankle and
damn near blowing out your asshole with the spicy stream. And yeah, I see. I was wondering if there was going to be a hell no, I'm never doing that again, or some other reaction after the fact.
once we beat Zelda 2, that's probably the closest I will be to a hell no, I'm never playing that again.
Oh no, I was talking about the spicy stream.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
that, yeah, no. Nope.
But see, my understanding is that that was your idea in the first place.
It was. I wanted to do
That
it.
was a bad idea.
It was a terrible idea. Hindsight is 2020.
uh,
But I did all of it at once, and now I don't have to do it. I did the chip, and I did the
yeah.
that, and the peppers, and I did it all at once. So
Speaking of that,
now I'm done.
what was the worst thing that you had that day?
The dried ghost chilies were the worst
Really?
thing that I had that day. Yeah, yeah, and they were supposed to be because I tried to start with the hottest on the Scoville scale or whatever it is. Um, out of the things that I had on that stream, that was supposed to be the least hot. And that
And it
was
was the
definitely the
worst.
most painful, painful thing that I ate. Yeah.
Do you think that's because of that's what they were by themselves and the Scoville rating was not correct, or because it was in addition to everything that came before it?
I don't know, because I feel like my mouth was like kind of back to normal. And then it just
No, it was dead at that point.
like
Everything was just
liquid.
dead on your tongue.
You would think after so much heat, like you couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
But it was not the case.
Hmm. Well, and I'll never make that mistake. No, no.
Tell you right now, you don't want to do
Yeah,
it.
any of those things. Like the time the G-Ray was trying to chug 2 gallons of milk or something, and I'm just like, No, no, that's fine. You guys can do that stuff. I'll abstain. Thank you very much.
See, with that, I would be worried that I would like throw up on my computer.
He
Like,
almost
and
did.
it'd be toast.
Yeah, he almost did. I mean, just like
Yeah.
you, he barely made it off stream before he puked. You know?
I literally, I don't know if I told you this. I I rated out and I flipped over to that end screen and I spun around in my chair because I was going to get sick and realized my mic was still on and that it hadn't fully rated. So
Yeah,
I spun around real quick and hit mute and then spun around and got sick.
yeah. I figured with the way you were
Yeah.
ending that, it was gonna happen really fucking soon.
Mom was
Um,
making fun of me 'cause she was like, "You were talking so fast." You were like, "Thanks,
yeah.
everybody,
I'm about to puke. Bye.
bye."
Yeah.
Right, bye.
Well, I mean, that would have been at your expense, of course, but comedy gold that went down in the annals of history if you puked on
Yeah.
stream. So
Is that against terms of services? I feel like
probably, I mean, if feet
it's
are against terms of service, I'm sure puking is
right.
at some level.
Yeah,
You know.
any bodily fluids.
Yeah. All right. Again, any other questions in chat, please put them in right now because we're going to be ending here in just a minute. What direction would you like to take your Twitch channel in the near future? Just continue gaming or branch out into some other stuff, or what
Oh,
what are the things that you want to make your channel into over the next
uh,
several
a
years?
regularly scheduled stream
Okay.
on a consistent day. That would be nice. And I do want to branch out. I do want to do Legos. I do want to look at board games, especially just the stuff some people may not have seen before, you know, like that VHS game Nightmare.
Yeah.
We absolutely love that game, and there's a whole series of those. So I think that that is in the plans for the future.
Okay. I look forward to that.
Legos. Did I say Legos?
Yeah.
Puzzles, any like that creative type stuff. Um, like to get into some of that too because we do have now like a top down mount, so
Yep.
that should be coming.
Fairly soon.
Yeah.
All right. When you get going the way you want to, what are the days? I'm assuming evenings that you're,
Mhm.
it's because you're not working. Aside from the weekend stuff, what kind of a weekly schedule would you like to have?
Probably probably twice a week. I don't know particular days uh just yet, but
Okay.
probably twice a week and then whatever on the weekends that we can schedule in there.
I think a lot of that would fall into place if Cage goes to third shift, so
I think
that
you're right.
you have the evenings together again.
I don't know that he wants third shift,
No,
but
but he could also maybe try for first shift, and you'll be on the same schedule. Aha! Hey!
hey. Then he'd have to drive to work with me, and he doesn't want to do that.
Or you could do third shift and he could do second or something.
Ooh. Never again.
Yeah. Okay. I think that about wraps it up. So, do you have anything else you would like to say to everybody? Because this is your platform. Um, you know, messages or thoughts, stuff that is important to you or been swirling around in your head, anything like that?
I mean, I just want to say thanks to everybody. I feel like um I've gained a lot of friends, like real life actual friends through Twitch streaming, which I never ever thought would happen. And everybody's been very supportive and I'm very grateful for that. It's just kind of surreal. And thanks
Yeah,
to Gage because he keeps all my emotes and my overlays and he does all my tech stuff because I
yeah, but
don't know
you've
what I'm
been
doing.
you've been learning. I mean, it's a learning
Yeah.
process for all of us. I still find shit that I didn't know before that oh, that's how you do that, and that makes life 10 times easier, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a learning process, so you'll get it eventually yourself, and in the meantime, he takes care of it.
Well, Paige,
Um,
I have another emote slot.
yeah. Um, so I am guessing you probably don't get to do this very often. Would you like to take this opportunity to embarrass Cage with nothing bad, but just, you know, some kind of message you want to deliver to your husband on my channel?
And no, I gotta have something planned. Um,
Maybe something good, maybe something positive.
I love you. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Well, that's pretty much it then. If we have no other questions in chat, that's been my guest for this evening, the beautiful Short and Sweet, also known as Veronica. You can check her out. I put her thing in there, but I'll do it again here. Short and Short and Street, and the thing with the number, and there we go. Your life literally depends on it. Go follow this woman. If you don't, there's going to be hell to pay, and it's going to be paid to Cage because he needs the money. Yeah. All right, so let's head on over to coming attractions on EBC. That's Not Real Trek. Our next episode is tomorrow night, special time Tuesday at 7 p.m. on the Conflux Discord. We're going to be looking at episodes 7 and 8 of season 1 of Discovery. So check it out. If you're at all interested in Star Trek, you might find this interesting, especially if you've not seen any of the newer Trek that's been produced by Paramount and CBS in the last 6 years. And we're going to be going through all of it over time. It's going to take a little over a year to at least get through the stuff that they have currently. So we're slowly going through it and making progress. And if you don't get in there soon, you're going to miss a lot of it. You know, we're not going back and watching any of it again. So fuck you if you don't want to do that. Anyway, what else do we got here? Oh, yeah, I mentioned this before. If you have not seen this movie, Sleeper, it's one of my mom's favorites and therefore became one of my favorites years and years ago. If you haven't heard of it, I'm not surprised. But this Wednesday, also in the Conflux, we're going to be showing the movie Sleeper from 1973. In my opinion, one of the best Woody Allen movies ever. And it really showcases his acting skills, and it's absolutely hilarious. So please stop on by, and I guarantee you will have a good time with that movie. And then our regular public domain movie night this coming Monday. So I'm not going to have any shows between Wednesday and Monday. I'm going to take the weekend off because I will describe that here in a little bit. But I'm going to be showing, this is the 7th and final Lassie movie, and it is the only one that's in public domain, The Painted Hills from 1951. So stop on by the EBC channel on Monday if you are interested in seeing that, especially if you're a dog fan, like I know Cage and VR, so you can stop by and see the dog in action, and it's good, wholesome fun. And then I'm going to play this one more time because this is the first time that it is being shown to the public, and that is the first trailer for our next audio drama. This is the 5th audio drama from EBC, and it will be coming out on August 7th. All right, so there you have it. That's our next audio drama coming up 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, August 7th. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a blast, as you saw, starring Isnib Maleggio and the evil Tuba Swan himself. So make sure you stop by for that. Once again, thank you to our guest, Short and Sweet, for gracing us with her presence this evening. And let's go raid out. I'm going to go raid Don't Give a Buck because he is playing Stardew Valley. If I can spell correctly. There we go. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night for That's Not Real Trek in the Conflux Discord. And if for anything else, check out the website, ebc2021.com. The entire schedule is there, and access to the Patreon. If you want to sign up for that, you can get access to the archive for as little as $2 a month. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you later. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, because Short and Sweet isn't going to do that shit either. So if you do that and you want her to do that, and I'm not going to do that, and then nobody's going to do it, and nobody's doing anything around here, so fuck all that shit. Goodbye. See ya!